No, definitely not. I never thought of it because nobody had cancer in the family.
I never imagined that at a young age I would develop any serious illness. I'd always had a really healthy lifestyle, exercised a reasonable amount, was relatively careful about what I ate.
I smoked maybe lightly for 30 years. I was in the hospital last December, and one of my roommates was 92, and he said, I've been smoking for 70 years, and I'm not going to stop.
So I figured that it was inherited or in the genes, but not in my genes.
And I said, well, this just doesn't seem fair. He's been smoking for 72 years. I smoked lightly for 33, and I'm the guy that's in here with cancer.
So to get sick was such a shock.
Not cancer. It was foreign to me.
But that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I met John in 1985. He was playing piano, of course, because John is a concert pianist, and he played all types of music. Music brought us together, and I think he would say the same thing, but we had so many mutual values, it just worked. We knew ahead of time that he had a type of tumor known as carcinoids for which there wouldn't possibly be really treatments. Chemotherapy basically didn't work. And he didn't have chemotherapy, but they also weren't so responsive to radiation. So the good news was they were slow-growing tumors in his ileum, but we knew that at some point that this would kick in.
I started to get a really, really bad cough, which was very unusual for me. I didn't get sick very often, and certainly not with a cough. I might get a cold on occasion, but I really didn't think anything of it.
They could not take the lung out because the right lung is bigger than the left lung, and so it would only give me 50% breathing capacity, and my age is against me, so they couldn't take the lung out.
I had a little bit of a little shortness of breath, but I thought that's 85 years. That's not that serious, because it wasn't very serious. The doctor ordered an x-ray, and I got a call saying, there's a spot, we'd like you to have a CAT scan. We've ordered it, so don't be surprised when you're called in for your appointment.
So the chest x-ray was the first step to me eventually discovering that it was actually cancer, not just a cough that I had.
I was losing my husband, and I wasn't sure how the palliative care was going to be. I didn't know if he was going to be in more and more pain. I didn't know how disfigured he might become. He was losing weight drastically. He was not able to eat. I didn't know if he'd be conscious. And she didn't know either, you know. But I've always said that nurses have such a profound opportunity to make a difference. So we became a team, and I really looked for her to come into my home.
Maybe it just dawned on me that this cancer, whatever it was, I don't know. And I went in there and she said, what is it? What's the matter? And I said, I told her, and then she gave me a hug. And sometimes I hug her when I see her because I'm glad to see her.
To have a patient like Frances is kind of my payday, because I truly feel that I've made a difference in somebody's life. I love seeing her. I give her big hugs. I'm not going to cure her cancer, but I can make a difference in her life. And my life is enriched by her being my patient.
And so I told them I had been diagnosed with cancer and was now under treatment, and she took it very, no problem at all. She didn't get all upset. It didn't. She just said, "You're going to come through." She just had that positive attitude. I guess that's one of the reasons, back to your question, why I married her. She had that positive attitude. She wasn't always moaning, groaning, and complaining. You're going to be all right. You'll come through.
I had overheard my dad talking about, you know, the fact that he was having to pick up my hair and I shed more than the dogs do. You know, I was really upset and I was crying, and he said, "Are you still mad at me?" And I don't think I've ever heard him say that. And I just reinforced and I said, you know, what you said was really hurtful. And he came up and he put his arm around me and he said, you know, "I'm really sorry." He said, "This is how I'm coping with things." He goes, I don't know how to cope with this." He says, I'm your father." He said, I'm the one that should have cancer, not you. I'm the one who's supposed to protect you, and I can't do anything to help you."
So I sat and I waited around for him for about 45 minutes. And when he came out, he was so thrilled that I was going to be there. And I said, "No, Art, how am I going to know who you are?" And he said, "Well, I'll be the tall, good-looking guy." And I said, "Okay, well, I'll be the short one." I told him what I was wearing that day. He goes, "All right, I'll look for you, Sue." And he came out and he introduced me to his son and his daughter, and he gave me a big hug and a big thank you. And he said, "I couldn't have done it without you, Sue." And it meant a tremendous amount to me.
Cancer is a life-threatening illness. It's frightening, and it reminds you that life is finite. That's where people go in their minds, even when they don't talk about it. So when you have people in nursing care and therapists or physicians who can draw that out and have those conversations, you are giving that family a gift.
I would have loved to have a Souza nurse to be there during, you know, all the months that I was going through tests and not knowing what was happening to me. And then once I actually started treatments, you know, having to cope with so many different emotions and physical changes in my body, I was feeling very isolated. So having a nurse who I would see on a regular basis, consistently, who knows me as a person, who knows me as a patient, just to be there.
Oh, I think there's no question. Sue and I do have a very friendly relationship. It's more than just a contact to the hospital. Sue seems to be interested in me. She seems to be interested in looking at. I would guess that likely she's that way with most of her patients, but my ego likes to make me think that I'm number one, if that makes any sense to you people. And I think it does, doesn't it?
It means a lot to me to have Nicole there. It really does. And she's a wonderful person. And I love her.